Hi everyone, welcome to Tiflydesigns. Today I'm sharing the January 2021 card kit from San Stamp. Of course, I'm a little late and it was a little challenging because the stamp set didn't have a lot of images, and I came up with 11 cards, and I hope you like. So here we go. I started by arranging a bunch of the Snowflake stamps from the stamp set, arranging them on a piece of white cardstock in my Misty, and I'm going to use the Simon Says Clay Embossing ink so I can emboss my snowflakes with silver embossing powder. And the embossing powder I used also from Simon Says Stamp is the ultra fine silver embossing powder. I cover my cardstock with some powder and stamp my images, and I'm going to add the embossing powder and just remove the excess that adhered to places I didn't want it to. Then we're going to just heat set, and we're going to use some distress inks to color our images. I have the names of the distress inks that I used on the screen, and I'm just creating a pretty background using a different color of blues. Then I add the image back to my Misty, and I'm going to stamp my sentiment, and I'm using this stamp that says Snow Glad with Friends, and I stamp it with some black ink, and I'm using my Nouveau, this one, I think this one is the clear with glitter inside, and I'm just adding it to certain parts of my snowflakes, and I add that to a white card base, and that's it for card number 1. For card number 2, I started with this piece of pattern paper, and I'm using a stitched circle die. This is actually from MFT, and I'm going to cut the circle out. Then I'm going to add some double-sided tape, double-sided adhesive, so we can add a piece of acetate, and we're going to create a little shaker card. Here we're adding our foam tape. Then we're gonna add some of that unicorn. I'm sorry, unicorn confetti that came in the kit. I'm gonna add a little to the center of the piece of white cardstock that's gonna back in the back for our shaker, like so. And then I cut one of the snowflake die that came in the kit. I cut that from that is it silver or cardstock that came in the kit. And I'm also gonna create a frame to go around our circle. And to create a frame, you just put two different sizes of circle dies together and cut it out, and you get a cute frame. And I'm just gonna add here the frame like so. Then I start my sentiment that says "Snow much thanks." And at first I was going to use this blue over the sentiment to add some color, but I didn't like the color of the blue, so I stamped it again in just white. And I'm going to adhere to the center of my snowflake. And then this is added to a white card base, and that's it for card number 2. For card number 3, I'm using this piece of pattern paper with all the circles in the background, and I'm going to mimic or follow the circles by using the circle stamps that came in the stamp set. You see what I mean? So I have the snowflake, and I'm using the memento London Fog ink pad, and we're just stamping all the snowflakes that's in a circle. We're stamping them directly over the circles in the pattern paper. I also stamped the sentiment, which is also in a circle, so it worked out very well. And it says "Hello, friend." I just continue stamping until I'm satisfied with my background, and we'll just put the card together. Once I finish my stamping, I cut my paper down a little and add it to a gray card base, which matches the circles that I stamped. And then I'm using my crystal glaze, Nova crystal glaze, and I'm just going over the circle with the sentiment so it can stand out. And that's it for card number 3. For card number 4, I started with this pattern paper, and as I looked at it, it had that space on the right side, and I decided I was going to put like a circle there. But then I thought, why not use the great big snowflake and just emboss it there in white embossing powder. Of course, Simon says detail white. Then I cut another silver frame that went around our snowflake, and I'm using a 10, what is that called? White pen. Is that what it's called? White gel pen to color in my snowflake. The sentiment was also stamped using white embossing powder, and that's it for card number 4. For card number 5, I cut out 3 snowflakes, again with the silver cardstock, and I'm using this pattern paper that has like a pattern of lights or snow going across, and I'm going to adhere my 3 silver snowflakes to the left. Then for the 2 snowflakes at the end, I use my 3/4 inch punch to just punch out the center of the snowflakes. And then I'm going to use a die to do the one that's all the way on the inside. And we're going to create little shaker areas. See, I added a bunch of foam adhesive. And then I'm just adding some of that unicorn confetti again. And we're going to add a piece of cardstock in the back. And we've created 3 little shaker areas in the center of our snowflakes. Then I stamp my sentiment on a piece of black cardstock with white embossing powder. And that's it for card number 5. For card number 6, I'm using the embossing folder that came in the kit. And I embossed this piece of white cardstock. And I'm using a couple of distress inks, and I'm just lightly passing the ink pad across the embossed area, very lightly, hardly touching the paper pretty much. I continued using the embossing folder to create card number 7. I embossed another piece of white cardstock, and I'm using the same 3 colors for the card before, and I'm just coloring in a circular motion. What's the word? Changing the pattern of the colors, meaning not putting the same 2 colors on the same line, interchanging the colors, like so. I just love embossing folders. I have a lot. I need to start using them again. So cool. Then I continue with card number 7, and I'm adding a piece of vellum across the card. just for a little separation of the colors. And then I'm adding my sentiment. I stamp my sentiment, circular sentiment, and use one of my circle punches to cut it out. And that's it for card number 7. Card number 6, we're going to continue. And I used that die set from MFT to cut part of the pattern out in a balloon shape. And we add it to the top of this white piece of white cardstock. And I'm stamping the words happy birthday. I actually use a sentiment. Yes, a sentiment from an older Simon Says stamp set, and you can use any stamp set you want. I was trying to find a die that would fit there, but all the dies that I have with this happy birthday are very large, so I stamped happy, and then birthday is a very tiny word, and it gave me a lot of trouble just to stay still because it's so small. And I just stamp happy birthday, and then I'm going to add the string to the balloon and the little bow, also from that same die set from MFT. Not sure if I mentioned this before, but I did add foam tape to the back of the balloon. And I add this to a purple card base, which matches it perfectly. And that's it for card number 6. For card number 8, I have a piece of vellum, and I'm going to use that border stamp with all the snowflakes. And I'm stamping it at the top of the vellum, piece of vellum, and at the bottom of the vellum. We're going to create another shaker card. Then I cut a frame for my vellum using 2 rectangle dies. And I'm adding some double-sided adhesive so I can add my vellum. And when you're heating vellum with embossing powder, you can't stay at one spot at a time or it changes shape. That's the word. I'm gonna add some of the unicorn confetti again. I have my card, stamp my sentiment. Also in the center that says winter greetings. Using some white embossing powder, and that's it for card number 8. For card number 9, I tried to use the scrap silver cardstock, and I cut parts of that die snowflake, and I'm just gonna add them to the front of this piece of pattern paper and stamp my sentiment, embossing with some silver embossing powder again. And that piece of paper is actually from when I cut the frame from the last card, so I didn't want to waste it. So stamp our sentiment, add it. We're gonna actually frame it with some white cardstock, then add it to another piece of pattern paper, then add it to a white card base, and that's it for card number 9. For card number 10, I used the tall timber die from Whimsy Stamp, and I cut out these pine trees pine trees. And I add, this glue also came in the kit. Add a bunch of glue to cover the entire tree. And I'm going to cover that with the confetti. So my trees look like they're newly snowed on, I guess. When I saw this pattern paper, it reminded me of a snow scene, and it seemed like it needed trees. So I'm adding 3 trees. Of course, I like to do in threes, and we're gonna just add a sentiment, and that will be it for this card. I'm just gonna add it to a white card base, and that's it. And here I'm just using one of my Copic markers just to add some shadow in the snow. Yeah. And then I'm just gonna cut off the excess. Like I said, add my sentiment, and that's it for card number 10. For the bonus card, excuse the ugly nails, add here, this is the cover from the pattern paper pad, and I cut a piece of that cover, and I'm gonna adhere it to a piece of blue cardstock. Then I cut the snowflake out in white, adhere it to the front, and cut the center of the snowflake out. Add some acetate, some foam adhesive, add my confetti in the middle, and we created a little shaker area in the center of my snowflake. Then I'm gonna add that to a white card base, and that's it for our bonus card today. And these are all the cards I created today. I hope you guys enjoyed. I actually fell in love with the kit after making all the cards. And I want to thank you guys for watching. And don't forget to subscribe if you like what I'm doing. And hit the notification bell so you can know when I update it, upload another video. And I'll see you next time. Bye.